on, so
Yeah.
that helped me.
Well, I started the one with the Sleepy Harlow. That's the one that I started.
And the readathon?
I just never finished. I started reading that one, and
October Red, Part 2.
wow.
I have to make myself laugh when I edit.
Yes. Okay, so I had a fairly decent month. I read 5 books. It started out really slow because the first book I read was Project 17 by Lori Faria Stellars, who wrote those witch books like Red is for Remembrance. I have a few of those. I really like those books, and I read one of her books, her newer books, Dark House, a couple of months ago. I think maybe August. And it was so good. It was so good. I'd highly recommend that book. It was super scary. But Project 17, I just did not like.
No, she didn't.
Because it could have been, like, so scary. Because they were, like, making a film in an asylum, like a haunted asylum.
Oh.
But it was just, like, all the places that could have been scary were just, like, big letdowns. Like, it was like she led up to something that could be creepy and just kind of
Fell off.
apart, and it just didn't work.
Dropped the ball.
Yeah. And I know this is one of her earlier books, I think, so maybe that's why. Because I really like her other books that I have read. So I don't know. I had high hopes for this, but I didn't like it. And then I did the Dewey's 24-hour readathon earlier in the month, and I actually finished 2 books. Granted, this one is an R.L. Stine book, and it's really tiny. I read The Prom Queen by R.L. Stine. It's part of the Fear Street, you know, if you were a kid.
In the 90s.
In the 90s. You have read these.
Yes.
Either Goosebumps or Fear Street.
I had a bunch of Fear Street. I didn't like Goosebumps. They were too babyish for me. I was the target age for Goosebumps, but I was like, those are not scary. Come on.
I loved Goosebumps. I couldn't let go of Goosebumps and go into Fear Street.
See, I read like maybe one Goosebumps that I liked. The kids down from me that were my friends, they had a bunch of Goosebumps, so I read some of theirs.
Mm-hmm.
And I had the one Day at Horrorland. I had that one, like,
That
actually.
was my favorite.
But it's like, other than that, I really liked his Fear Street books because people died. and I was like, yes. And then I jumped from this into, like, Stephen King as a kid. But I really liked it. You know, it's like a super, super quick read. That's why I picked it for the 24-hour readathon. Plus, it's Halloween, you know. Scary book. Even though, you know, this is meant for
Teens.
teens. Yeah,
Older
like young
elementary,
teens.
middle school, young.
And then I read 20th Century Ghost Stories, or Ghosts, 20th Century Ghosts by Joe Hill. This is a bunch of short stories in this. They're not all creepy. Some of them are really weird, but oh my god, I love this book. Like, of course, because everything, you know, Joe Hill is an excellent writer, and as he should be. He's the son of Stephen King.
Which we tend to like Stephen King, clearly.
Yes. But oh my god, I highly recommend this book, like so much. I mean, everyone's like on the Horns bandwagon right now because of the movie and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But this was just like so good, and like some of the stories were like super short. Some of them are really creepy. Other ones were just like, what did I just read? What even happened in this? But it was good. It wasn't like in a bad way. Like what? Like there's a story in here that I really like. It was my favorite. This kid was like a blow-up doll kind of thing. Like he was a person.
Like a Pinocchio
Like maybe like
type.
those punch clowns. You know those things? Those punch clown things? But he was a kid. He was an actual kid.
Oh, that's messed
So he
up.
had to be like super careful. Not to get punctured or anything.
Oh, that's funny.
That is weird.
Oh my god, it was like one of my favorite stories I've ever read, ever. Started reading it and I'm like, are you for real? What? I'm like, is this like, what? I can't even explain it. You just have to read it. Enough fangirling over that book. And then the last 2 books I read on my Kindle. I read Feral by Holly Schneider. That was a good book. It was about a girl who, she was like a reporter in school. Like, she worked for the newspaper. And some kid tried to frame her best friend for selling drugs.
Oh.
And she, like, you know, caught the kid who did it. And he got caught and everything. And it ended up, he was just like a little drug dealer for a bigger group of kids. Who ended up jumping that girl and almost beating her to death.
Oh, God.
So after she's healed and stuff, she goes to this small town called Peculiar.
Eerie.
And she starts school there, and like weird stuff starts happening. A girl had gone missing, and she finds her in the woods, and it's just like there's like a bunch of feral cats around. It's a really strange story. I liked it, but I kind of predicted what was going to happen in the end.
Oh, bummer.
Which I hate, and I was totally right. I was totally right the whole time. I was like, ah. It's like, you could have thrown in a little twist.
Yeah.
That would have been nice. Because I think the ending was supposed to be the twist. Like, oh. But I had figured it out. I liked it. I enjoyed it, but it wasn't, like, my favorite. And then I read This Is Not a Test by Courtney Summers. This was about zombies.
Oh, cool.
But it was sort of depressing. It was not as scary as I wanted. There wasn't a whole lot of zombie action. It was more about this girl's life. Like, her father would beat her and her sister. So she, you know, her father was not around anymore. Like, she got away. They were with a few other kids inside the high school. Their high school, that's where they were staying.
Mm-hmm.
And it was all about her, because her older sister had left her not long before the
Apocalypse.
zombie stuff happened, so she was, like, gonna kill herself and everything. Like, the whole time, it is, like, her still wanting to kill herself.
Oh.
And it was, like, I wanted a horror book, but it ended up being more depressing than horror. But, I mean, you know, I think there's a few in this series, so we'll see if I want to continue. I liked it, but I wanted more scary stuff than I got. That was my list of October reads. Yay!
Now, to be read. I think we're all in consensus here.
Christmas, everything.
Christmas cozies, anything Christmas stories.
Looks like I'll be
Currently reading this one, My True Love Gave to Me, by, like, everyone. Wrote a story in this. Holly Black, Rainbow Rowell, Lainey Taylor, Kirsten White, Stephanie Perkins,
I think
everyone, Jenny Han.
I will be breaking into Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol. I think that'll be the first one I'll read. Get a little Christmas spirit going. How about you?
Currently, I'm reading Bram Stoker, so yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. I have to read Cell, too, don't I?
Yes, you do.
Yeah, I do. Maybe that's the first book I'll read this month, and then I'll break into the Christmas. So
I'm just like, Christmas now.
Mm-hmm.
It's time.
Done.
November 1st. Christmas.
Yep.
Thanksgiving, what's Thanksgiving?
Well, they don't have... I mean, I do have a Thanksgiving cozy mystery, but they're, like, hard to find.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people write about Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
As the, like, main subject of the story. Halloween and Christmas, you can find a ton of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Thanksgiving kind of just lumped into Christmas.
Yeah.
It's like your first Christmas dinner.
Yeah. It's the test run.
Plus, Thanksgiving is on my birthday this year.
Fun times.
So it's a holiday.
Actually, Clara Carmack, her last one, Faking It, takes place between Thanksgiving and Christmas.
But it's not about that, though. It's, like, not about the holiday, is it?
It's centered around the reason why it happens is
because of the holiday.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, I know what you're talking about. I haven't read it yet, but I get it.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of movies like, here, pretend to be my boyfriend.
Yeah.
For the holidays. You know how many Hallmark movies are that kind of premise? I watched like 2 of them yesterday. I'm like, okay. So I'm just gonna hire someone to pretend to be my boyfriend for Christmas.
And then you'll end up falling in love with him.
Or kidnapping them. That was another one. That was the one with Melissa Joan Hart and Joey Lawrence.
Really?
She kidnaps him. And of course they end up falling in love at the end. Spoiler
Of course.
alert. But it's so cute. You know, they have that show on the Family Channel together.
Oh, yeah.
Melissa and Joe.
Yeah. It's like, that's adorable. He's following me on Twitter. I don't know why.
So, alright, that is our October Reds and possibly to be Reds.
November, whatever we feel like. That's Christmas
Yeah.
related.
Yeah.
So, until next time, see you later. Read lots.
Bye!